Right, guys, so let's get started. So we were talking about commercial banks, right? So the commercial bank comes under the banking sector, right? So the banking sector, we can identify three organizations, which is, without any doubt, the central bank is there, and the licensed commercial banks. Now, if you think about the financial asset ownership, licensed commercial banks plays a key role when it comes to the financial institutions in Sri Lanka. It's more than 50% assets belong to licensed commercial banks. And then now we'll be talking about licensed commercial banks in more detail. Right? Now, more detail in the sense, so what sort of tasks they handle, and also especially moving to current account, the services that you can get through a current account, plus how you use the checks, right? So those stuff will be studied. Correct. So then what sort of things that you need to know when it comes to the licensed commercial banks? We discussed classification. Right. Now, just a simple question. Chaturma, what do you think? Lankawe licensed commercial banks, what do you think? Huh?
Many?
Sorry?
Many?
No, I'm asking the number of banks. What do you think?
No idea, sir.
Right. So at the moment we have 26 licensed commercial banks. Now, if you can see the list, right? So we were talking about the classification. Sorry, not 26, 24 banks. So even we discuss one by one. Now, if you browse if you went to the central bank website, you can see the list I have extracted. So this is what you can divide, saying the state bank and the private bank and the local, and also you can divide as international bank as well, right? So 24 licensed commercial banks are there, right? So that we mainly divide in to private sector, right? So private sector banks and public sector, all banks belong to government. So there are only two banks, which is POC and People's, right? And you get private banks. Also, you have like local private banks and also international private banks like HSBC, Citibank, or Standard Chartered. Right? That's sort of a list that we went through last week. And then here we talk about the services, right? Services provided by licensed commercial banks. Again, you are dividing into two, saying deposit related services and lending related services. Now, talking about the main function of these banks, so they are in the process of financial intermediation, which I have even explained before, because there will be parties, right, who have some surplus money and want to invest or want to save their money, and in return they'll be getting an interest income for that. And there will be set of people who is looking for funds, maybe to for consumption purposes, to purchase a house or a land or a vehicle, or as for education purposes, right? and even for a start to business, right? So talking a business loan. So then they will be looking for funds. So bank will be doing this intermediary function. So in that manner, we have these deposit related services. As you know, there are mainly three kind of savings accounts that we can see this deposit related. So we have this savings account and fixed deposits, and we have current account. Right now, what matters most for the business is the current account. So we'll be having a brief idea about fixed deposits and savings account, but we'll more focus on current account, how we can open a current account and what sort of a benefits to the businessman, right? So we'll be highlighting what is current account here, because that's what matter when it comes to a business. Right, now let's go through what is savings account and fixed deposit. That is nothing much that you know, because everyone is having a savings account, fixed deposits, but not current account. So that's what we need to focus on, that part. Right now, so you can complete this as well, the services rendered by a licensed commercial bank, which is deposit related services and lending related services. Well, so coming to the deposit related services, so first one is these savings accounts, right? So I'll just go through that. Right. So the businessman as well as many individuals, right? So not just for the businesses. So most individuals can deposit money and withdraw money at any time from these accounts, right? And remember, the bank will pay us an interest for these savings. But if you think about the interest rate is quite low, right? But you know, the bank will be paying an interest at a certain rate for these accounts. Now, savings accounts can be opened individually or jointly by a few individuals, what we know as joint accounts. Maybe husband and wife, you know, together open a one account, so joint account. Or maybe business partners when you come to the partnership business, right? So you can start individually or as a joint account. Now today the commercial banks have introduced different specialized savings accounts under different names other than the normal savings account. So you know, they come up with something like, you know, the names I heard like Champion Saver, 18 plus, People's 18 plus. So likewise, you know, come up with different names. So this type of accounts has been introduced with the purpose of encouraging savings and accumulating an interest on the balance. So money can be deposited or withdrawn, you know, for the depositor, right? Transaction may also done through teller cards, ATM cards as well. So that is nothing much when it comes to intro part. So here, how you open a saving account, it's not a big deal, guys. So you go to the bank and submit this what you call this application. They're known as the mandate. Account mandate is the application form, and also you need to, I would say, fill this, you know, KYC form as well as a tax declaration kind of a thing, along with the national identity card. So in addition, requires paying the minimum amount recommended by the bank, because some banks may be just 500. So it's quite less if you compare the current account, right? Just, you know, 500 or maybe 1,000, maybe 2,000 when it comes to the different banks. So they have a kind of a minimum amount, but it's not a, you know, huge amount like when we compare with the current account. So when all these requirements are fulfilled, the bank issues a passbook for the savings account, and it will record deposits, withdrawals, and the balance of the account. So that is fine. Now, so what sort of advantages when you come to the savings account? So it's a kind of a security for the money rather than keeping it with you and earning an interest income, obviously. And you get this chance, right? Ability to deposit and withdraw at any time. Now, if you open a fixed deposit, that is, there will be limitations, but here Anytime we can withdraw, anytime we can deposit. And also ability to transact via automated teller machines, and also ability for you to pay using the debit cards, right? Well, so fixed deposit also, I'll just quickly go through everything I have, included in the tip because nothing to focus on this part. So this is a deposit of a fixed sum of money for a fixed period. That's what we say. These are fixed deposits. Importantly, the set of words that we use, right? So sometimes we say fixed deposit, sometimes we say term deposit or time deposit. Having the similar word, having the knowledge about the similar words, really important, because otherwise, if in examination, if you check with a different name, that will be a problem, right? So attracting a fixed rate of interest, a higher rate of interest is payable that you compare with the savings, right? So if you think about the interest rate, yes, higher rate of interest will be payable. The same kind of a procedure, opening a fixed deposit. Now, even you can open a fixed deposit through online banking as well. So, and they will be giving you a deposit certificate as well, right? So talking about the benefits, right? So deposit a certain period of time and it's varying interest rate. It's quite high interest rate if you compare with the normal savings account. So the relatively high interest rate compared to normal savings account, and a certain percentage of the fixed deposit can be obtained as a loan by providing fixed deposit as a collateral. Now, when you have this fixed deposit, for example, you're having a 1 million fixed deposit, maybe out of that, maybe like 500,000, 300,000, you can get as a loan. So that as you have the savings accounts also, you have your money in your fixed deposit account. At the same time, you can obtain a loan as well. So that's a kind of a advantage. And interest will be accumulated monthly at maturity or as per the agreed terms. And bank gives a certificate mentioning the details such as deposit date, deposited amount, things like that. Now let's move to the current accounts. Right. So this part, just give me 1 second. Right. So let's start with the more discussion regarding current accounts. Right. Now, guys, what do you think? Now, if you open a current account, the very first question. Now, let's compare with the concept of interest. So, kind of an average interest. For example, nowadays the interest rate are quite high. So now let's say just 5%, right? Just 5% for savings accounts, and for fixed deposits. Now let's assume that it's 12%. What do you think the interest rate for the current account? Any idea? The average interest rate for current accounts? Huh? No, the rate is 0, right? So for the current account balance, you won't receive any interest income. So that's one of the main the differentiation if you compare with this savings account, fixed deposits, and current account, right? And so here the opening value. So you need to have, for example, even like I said, depending on the bank, you can open a savings account like just 500 or 1,000 or maximum 1,005, 200, right? Rupees. Right now, now make it just 500, but now maybe or 1,000. The minimum one you need to deposit. But when you come to this, obviously you're not gonna start a fixed deposit by just depositing 1,000 or 1,005, but quite a high amount. But here, current account, yes, so that initial minimum amount is quite high. Correct. And talking about the benefits, guys, so that is why, so most of the, you might wonder, so why you open a current account then, when there's no interest? The reason is opening a current account, the purpose is not saving, right? The purpose is not to earn an interest income, but instead use this as a payment platform, right? Payment and settlement platform. Why? Because when you get a current account, you receive a checkbook and you get the opportunity to transact using checks. So then to receive, to issue checks, that's one of the more important, because when you come to this businessman point of view, when you get the chance to issue check, so we have a separate subtopic about checks. We'll be discussing the type of checks, how we properly write a check. There is a separate subtopic. And here, so you get this chance to get overdraft facility as well, what we known as OD facility. So when you have a current account, you'll be able to, with the approval, you'll be able to issue checks which is exceeding your current account balance. Now, for example, now having 5,000 in your savings account, you cannot withdraw, or you cannot use your debit card for to make a payment like 6,000, right? But if you have just in a current account 100,000, but if you want to make a payment settlement of 120,000, maybe you might apply for 20,000 overdraft facility, so that will be subjected to the approval, so then you get the chance to issue. So that's one of the important part when you come to the business, because in the business you need to make sure that you have this what you call the good working capital with you, a cash inflow and cash outflow. So in that manner, it's good to have this kind of a facility. And apart from that, the usual benefits you get, you receive this bank statement. Now, when you come to savings account, also you'll be receiving bank statements. And also you can come up with the standard orders, right? Standing orders. What do you mean by standing orders? For example, every month, right? Or 10th or 15th, you have to pay your bank loan installment, you have to pay your leasing installment, you have to pay your rent. So rather than worrying about these payments, you can just instruct the bank, on behalf of the businessman, just to pay for that respective party, right? And also you'll be able to collect remittances as well, the direct remittances, on behalf of you to collect all the receivables to your account, right? So this set of thing, I think the important part is the issue of checks, and the overdraft facility that will be specifically for the current account holder. Right? So that is why most of the cases they try to start a current account. So other, even the standing orders also you can put in the savings accounts as well. If you have a savings account, you can instruct the bank to have some standing orders. Right, well, so let's come to that part. Let's complete the set of benefits, set of important facts when it comes to the current account. Right, when I make current account, අපි තවත් නමක් කියනවා demand deposits කියලා, but we do not use this word much. But we also say this as demand deposits. Demand deposits. Right? And for the fixed deposit, we are saying time deposits or term deposits, because your money will be fixed for a term, fixed for a specific period of time. Here it's demand deposits. Right now, please come to your page number 24 of the tute. Current account, the demand deposits. With the different types of accounts maintained by a commercial bank, the current accounts are essentially the important type of account for a businessman. Current account is an account which allows the doing transaction via checks. A type of account that has facilities to do the transaction with checks are not entitled to any interest, right? So please highlight the fact you are not entitled for any interest. Bank overdraft facilities may be available while transaction can be carried out through telecards as well, right? So even you can withdraw money from your current account using a telecard. That's one of the newly introduced facility. Now here, how you can open a current account? The same manner you can open a current account in the name of your business, or individually, or as a joint account, or in the name of the business. So most of the businessmen use current accounts in order to conduct their business activities easily. When opening a current account, the relevant current account mandate and the deposit slip need to be completed and submitted along the national identity card, right, which is your application form and your NIC. And current accounts, again, we are saying and highlighting the fact, do not earn any interest. The bank, instead of the interest, the bank will charge you, right? There will be a lot of charges. So the bank will charge a fee, right, if the balance of the current account reduces below a certain minimum level and for other services provided. Now, for example, there will be charges for checkbook charges, right? Saman checkbook it's around 800, 700. I don't know about the prices now. So there will be checkbook charges. There will be OD interest, because OD is kind of a short-term loan facility, short-term credit facility. For that, there will be an interest. So there will be bank charges, there will be interest charge, not that you are earning interest, instead you have to pay interest, and also checkbook charges or maybe statement charges. So there will be a set of charges, right? So you don't earn any interest, because why? The purpose is opening a current account. It's not the purpose of earning an interest, with the purpose of use as a payment platform where you can issue checks. Right, now let's move to like I explained, the benefits of holding a current account. Right, we are moving to the part of benefits of holding a current account. Right, guys. So shall we write our first point, please? Ability to make payments via checks, right? So you can pay your employee salary or the bills, utilities by paying checks. Let me share the first point to the screen as well. The ability to make payments through checks. The ability to make payments through checks. Only the first one, right? The ability to make payments through checks. Now let's see the explanation here. The ability to make payments via checks make it easy and secure for the transaction. Yes, it's easy and very safe. Anyway, how we can write a check with the maximum safety and reduce the risk we'll be talking about under the subtopic of checks, right? And so here example is your salaries, electricity bill or utilities, insurance, everything you can pay, or maybe payments to your suppliers through the these checks. Right. Number 2, ability to obtain overdraft facilities. Right. Can we write number 2 here? Ability to obtain overdraft facilities. Ability to obtain overdraft, or what is simply known as ODs. Ability to obtain overdraft facilities is one of the key benefit. That's one of the main reason actually why a businessman opens a current account. So the bank OD facilities can be obtained by getting permission from the bank or the approval bank to write the checks for balance which exceeds the deposited balance in the current account. For example, just having 100,000 in your current account, the permission or the authority for you to issue a check worth of 120,000. So then how much is your OD value? Is just 20,000, or I would say minus 20,000 balance. So which is that usually you treat as your deposits which are plus as your current assets. Right now when you see OD, then it comes under the current liabilities. The amount by which the current account holder has been indebted to the bank by issuing checks under the permission of the bank exceeding the balance in the account is known as a bank overdraft. The businessmen often use this facility to fulfill a short-term credit requirement. So please highlight the fact that short-term credit requirements, because you have to settle within the period. The period is limited, not that you are getting 2 years, 3 years to settle your OD. So for your short-term requirement, because until you collect money from your customers, you have to still run the business and pay your all the expenses. Right? So it's really important that you manage your working capital, your day-to-day expenses. Right, so here moving to the third point. So it's all about obtaining the remittance facilities. Can we write the third point? Ability to obtain remittance facilities. So on behalf of you, the bank will be collecting money to your account so they can directly deposit to your current account. Right, now let's move to the explanation. The money to be received by visitor to the businessman from other organizations and individuals can be collected directly to the current account by the bank. You might have invested in companies where you receive dividend income. You might have your savings and fixed deposits, right? Maybe in the same bank or other banks, so the interest income, and also remittances from debtors, they be directly depositing money to your account. The next one is all about the standing orders. Because why, as a businessman, you might be quite busy or you might forget the due date sometime. For example, leasing installment every month, 20th, or maybe loan installment, right, every month, 30th, right? So when you're busy with your work, you might forget those deadlines or the due dates. So it's better that you inform the bank just to pay on behalf of you, right? So the ability to make payments on standing orders. Shall we write the fourth point? And so talking about the standing orders, guys, it's not just for the current accounts, even in a savings accounts also you can instruct the bank to or you can request for some standing orders, right? So not just for the current accounts. Ability to make payments on standing orders. And now let's see the explanation. There are certain payments that the businessman have to pay continuously, even on a specific date, right, for certain activities. A request can be made to the bank in writing by filling the relevant application form to pay a certain amount of money on certain time intervals continuously, right? Whether it's Could be a monthly payments, could be fortnightly payments, could be weekly payments, like that. The payments made by the bank according to such written request are known as the standing orders. Sample payment for your insurance premiums, payment on your loan installment, things like that. And finally, guys, about this bank statement. Actually, this is not just for the current accounts, even for the saving account. Also, you receive bank statement. So this is where you try to compare your bank balance in a business's bank balance versus the bank statement balance, right? The bank account reconciliation. If you are an accounting student, you know the process of bank reconciliation. So this is will be based. One of a source document is a bank statement. You compare with your business's bank account and try to identify, you know, what if there's any difference. Obviously, you might end up with a difference balance because something like standing orders, something like direct remittances, you haven't recorded in your books of accounts. Whereas, and also the bank charges, checkbook charges also from deducted from your bank account balance. So then you'll be doing this reconciliation process. For that, you need to have your bank account, and you'll be having you have open bank account in multiple banks as well. So each and every account that you need to reconcile. For that, the bank statement is the source document for that. Right, guys, I hope you're done with the points. Again, let me come back to the explanation. The fifth point, ability to obtain a report of the transaction, which we know as the bank statements. The bank sends statement to the current account holder stating the transaction done through the account. This is known as a bank statement. So this statement can be obtained monthly, quarterly, or as per the requirement of the account holder. If you doing a lot of transaction, probably not just monthly, maybe weekly or fortnightly or requesting. So through this statement, the deposits, withdrawals, and the balance in the account are informed. In addition, the statement, right? So please highlight the fact that the statement helps to reconcile the reasons for the difference between the balance in the bank account of the business, right? With your books of accounts in our business plus your bank statement. Right, so then I talk about this stuff. I explain savings accounts, how you open a saving account. Then I talked about fixed deposits and how to open the fixed deposits. Guys, now it's time for us to discuss lending related services. Lending related services. Right, so when you come to deposit, yes, you are quite fine with that. Savings, fixed deposit, and current. Guys, when you come to the lending related services, again, we divide into two, right? So two types of mainly lending related services. One thing is, as we discussed, overdraft facilities. Overdraft, right? Because overdraft is a short-term loan facility, a short-term credit facility that you obtain from the bank, and then bank will be providing loans. That is one of their main source of income, right? By charging you an interest from the loans that you have provided. So in that case, actually, overdraft also we divide into two, saying we will talk about the overdraft in detailed manner, right? as temporary overdraft and permanent overdraft, right? TODs and PODs. I'll come to that explanation. And talking about the loans, right? Loans also we divide into two parts. What are those? One thing is business loans, right? You are obtaining a loan as a businessman for the need of the business, or maybe to acquire new assets, to purchase a new machinery, right? To expand your business, to maybe just buy a new process, to establish a new process, a new building, right? Or maybe open a new outlet. So those stuff relate to the business loan. And also, there will be set of loans they'll be providing as consumer loans, right? So the consumer loans are for our consumption purposes. For example, housing loan, right? Vehicle loan. But if it is a vehicle loan for a business, obviously that is a business loan. But vehicle loans for our personal consumption, education loan, personal loan, so those stuff belong to the consumer loan category, right? So can we have this classification, please? So if you refer page number. Page number 27, right? Page number 27, lending related services. Mainly you divide as overdraft and loans. Then overdraft again, TOD and POD, which is temporary overdraft and permanent overdraft, and loans as business loan and consumer loans. Permanent ODs. Right now, let's get started with overdraft. Overdraft වලින් පටන් ගමු. එහෙනම් ඒක කොටස් දෙකයි, as you know, temporary and permanent overdraft. Right. So let's come to that part, which is page number 28. A bank overdraft is a specific approval granted by the commercial banks to current account holder. And remember, you can only open current accounts in the commercial banks only, that we have discussed in the explanation of a licensed commercial bank. The banks where they do maintain current accounts. So you cannot go for a licensed specialized bank and asking for a current account application, right? So it has to be the commercial banks. So the approval granted by the commercial banks to a current account holder to issue checks up to a specified value over and above that credit balance available in the account. These are in two types, as temporary overdraft and permanent overdraft. Right, two types. Now let's see what is temporary and what is permanent. So when an overdraft facility has been granted by the bank will want checks drawn by the account holder up to the limit of the overdraft. Now let's see something like this. Now imagine that you have 80,000 in your current account. Right? You have 80,000 rupees. Right? 80,000 rupees. And then you want to make a payment of 150,000. So then obviously you will have to apply an OD amount of 70,000. So if this approved by the bank, obviously then you can issue a check worth of 150,000 for one of your supplier, or maybe salaries, maybe your utility bills. So whatever the payment that you are making, you will be able to withdraw money or issue a checks up to 150,000. So if you are granted with the OD facility of 70,000, so you have a balance 80 and rest by as a short-term credit facility. So that's the quick explanation. And now let's see the difference between the temporaries and permanent overdraft. Therefore, the value of checks drawn for more than the available balance in the current account is known as bank overdraft. So please highlight the fact. Normally, a higher rate of interest is charged on overdraft. The bank will not provide this service as a free service, right? Obviously, there will be a high rate of interest. Look, interest charge now. Right now, here's the first one, shall we write? Permanent overdraft, or PODs. A permanent overdraft, a facility is where the it allows you to continuously use in order to obtain a permanent overdraft facility. For you to, it's necessary for you to provide some, asset security, or maybe a fixed deposit, or maybe kind of a asset as a collateral or a guarantee. You need to make sure that you provide asset security. You have to put some assets. And when you come to PODs, you don't have to, such an assets, you don't have to do like that. But here you will not get the chance to use, as this is a continuous service. I'll explain with examples. Now it says the fact that temporary overdraft facilities where the bank will want checks drawn in the excess of the balance in the account without some asset as a security. Now let's see something like this. Right? Now let's say the person A, right? Person A has his bank account in ABC Bank, right? A person in the ABC Bank. So his current account has a balance of 100,000. Has a balance of 100,000. Now he want to make a payment or issue a check worth of 150. So then he'll apply for a 50,000 overdraft. So this is the OD, this is the balance, right? So they will request, so he will request, the bank will approve, then you'll be able to issue, no doubt, 150. Right. Now your balance is 0. Right? Your balance is 0. You don't have any balance. Now, then you will, you need to settle this, right? You need to settle this. So you have 50,000 rupees. So then you will be receiving money, right? To your account, let's say 75,000, right? 75,000 deposit එකක් කරනවා එම නැත්නම් ඔයාට remittance එකක් විදිහට 75,000 ලැබෙනවා. හරි දැන් මට කියන්න මොකද වෙන්නේ කියලා. එහෙනම් මේකෙන් මේ 50,000 deduct වෙනවා. Not just 50,000 plus interest as well. අපි හිතමු interest එක 5,000 කියලා 10%. Right? එහෙනම් මේ 50,000 which is the OD one and plus interest, let's say 5,000. Right? Which is the interest. So altogether 55. And then your balance is 20. Your balance is 20,000. Am I correct? Yes. 20,000. Now then again, you want to make a payment or issue a check worth of 50,000. Then you need to do what? You need to again apply for a bank overdraft, right? So if you want to make a payment of 50,000, your balance is just 20, then you will again apply for a OD of 30,000. So 20,000 balance, 30,000 OD, no doubt you will be able to issue check of 50,000. So which means every time you use this facility, you need to request for this facility. So this facility is not fixed for you. Right? And another difference, you don't have to keep those some assets as a security. You don't have to do like that. And then this is not a fixed amount or a fixed amount of credit limit. Right? As you receive the facility, then you will be using that, and once you settle it, it will be over, it will close, and then you need to again apply. Here you can see, so 50,000 already applied, right? 75,000 again deposited, right? So you had a balance of 20. Again, you want to make a payment of 50, then you apply again 30,000. Got that point? Now, what is the difference? Now, if you come to this side, I'll take you through this PODs, or the permanent ODs. It's like, using a credit card. So you have a specific amount. The facility is fixed. For example, let's say you have a OD value of, always you have an OD value of 100,000. Right? You have OD value of 100,000. Now let's say this particular person B, right? Their balance, the bank balance is let's say 250,000. This is the bank balance. Now, if you want to issue a check worth of 300,000, can he issue a check worth of 300,000? Yes, no doubt. Why? Because the facility is 100,000. So because our facility is fixed, so then you will be issuing a check of 300,000. So for that, this balance plus 50,000 as OD, right? OD came from where? For this balance. So then can I know the balance of this bank account? Just, minus 50,000. Why is that? Because out of this 100,000, they used 50,000. So another 50,000 is there. So if you want to make another payment, for example, a payment of 20,000, then again it's possible, right? It's again possible. Then your balance will become minus 30,000. Got that point? Right. Now let's say you make a deposit. You make a deposit of let's say 150,000. 150,000. Now what happened? Altogether you have used how much? 50,000 plus 20,000, 70,000 of overdue. So then what happened? This 150, this 70,000 will be reduced. So then you have a, plus balance of 80,000 plus again, 100,000 facility will be there because you have just settled that amount. Got that point? Let me repeat it again. So you have a balance of 250,000, whereas you have a fixed facility of 100,000, right? Permanent overdraft. Then you want to make a payment of 300,000 payment. So how you do that? Is that possible? My first question. Is that possible? Yes. Because balance is 250, then you only need, right? You only need this OD factor 50,000. That's fine. So then your balance will become minus 50. Why? Because it's not zero. Because why? Here you will be fully using this 250, but out of this 100,000, you have only used 50,000. So another 50 is there. Then again you will make a payment of 20,000. So then your balance will become minus 30, which means still you have another 30,000. Another 30,000, but you are not using that 30,000. Luckily, you receive a deposit of 150. Now what happened? Right, I need to add the interest as well, but I haven't added interest here, but that is fine. So then, if you get a balance, or if you get a deposit of 150, what happens is that we have used this 50,000. We have used this 20,000 facility, right? So then your balance is 70, right? So you have used the 70,000 worth of it. Got that point, right? Because how you did this 20,000 using the bank overdraft facility, right? 20,000 of payment take care, may balance again. So that's why you have. So then altogether you have used OD facility of, am I correct? 50,000 plus this 70. Now what happened once you received 150, that amount will be deducted. So 70,000, then you have 80,000. Plus, if you want to make another payment like 150, that is also possible because why? You have now fully settled what you have used. So again, you get so it's a continuous facility, continuous credit facility that you have. Right, guys. So shall we take these two notes as well? And just let me know if I have any unclear points. But in business studies, they won't ask any questions like this. But this is for your knowledge purposes. I explain the practical inside of it. But in the examination, it's just a matter of knowing the two classification, PODs and TODs, and explanation and the difference. That's all right. You won't get any questions or the calculation like this. But if I practically explain, this is what happened. So this is a quite important point, right? You might think how this became 30 because you make the payment using your overdraft facility of 50,000. That's why your balance become minus 30. I guess I'll give another 1 minute and let's move forward with the note. Right, guys. So let's come back to the tute and let's see what they have telling us. Yes, so the temporary overdraft. Sorry, yes, the temporary overdraft is where the facility, it's not fixed, and also you don't have to provide any securities as your, asset securities. Right. So with that, let's move to the loan side. And then our loans අපි දන්නා කොටස් දෙකයි මොනවාද? Business loans and consumer loans. A bank loan is a loan furnished by a bank at a fixed rate of interest on the condition of repayment within an agreed period in installments together with the relevant interest. And now think about today's context, the interest rates are quite high. So in order to get an overdraft facility, a current account is essential, but it's not necessary for a loan, right? But usually when you have an account, that will be better because anyway you have to open an account to pay the installment. But when you have an account there, they will check the history of your transaction, the sources of money that you receive, so then they can come to a conclusion whether they will approve the loan or not, because they know for a fact that how sort of income shows that you receive. So then is that sufficient for you to pay your installments for the loan? So they will be checking that. So here's the loans, two types: business loans and consumer loans. A financial facility allocated to an individual or business on short-term, medium-term, or a long-term basis to meet their business requirements by a bank is known as a business loan. And come to the consumer part. Yes, so loan facility for a consumer to purchase an asset, something like a vehicle or a house, or meet some emergency needs, or maybe kind of a personal loan, right? Education loan, likewise. So can we write a couple of examples as well, right? Housing loans comes under this category. Housing loan, vehicle loan, then education loan, Well, now my question. My question is, so is that all? Is that just these two services provided by banks? In a bank, you can make services they can provide one of the lending related services, deposit related services. ඊට අමතරව වෙන මොකුත් නැද්ද services ඒගොල්ලන්ට? Right guys, what do you think? එතකොට bank එකක් කරන්නේ deposit asset කරන එකයි loan දෙන එකයි විතරයිද? ඒකට අමතරව වෙන මොනවාත් services නැද්ද? Yes sir. Yes, there are list of services provided by commercial banks, not just accepting your deposit, not just providing loans, right? Set of services. What are those? Well, there are set of called as agency services, right? For example, on behalf of water board, on behalf of electricity board, they'll be collecting payments. So you can, all your utility bills, you can be paid to the bank. And also there will be e-banking services for you, right? For you to electronically check your balance, do the payments, fund transfers, all this stuff, e-banking. Apart from that, they will be giving you the leasing facilities. Leasing, I'm not going to talk about leasing much because you have a separate subtopic, the specialized leasing companies. So when you come to leasing, guys, for you to get a leasing, you can go to a specialized leasing company. Leasing something like asset line leasing, people's leasing. But in a bank also, they do provide leasing facilities. Apart from that, the pawning services, අපි කියන්නේ රන් අය පාසුකම් නේද? gold loan ඒ වගේ දේවල් ලබා දෙන, ඒ වගේම safety lockers, ඒ වගේම issue of letter of credits, right? LCs issue කරනවා. ඊට අමතරව what else? When you think of bank, guys, set of services they will provide. Is that all? Is there any suggestion from your end? What do you think? Right? So money remittance services, yes. The bank so foreign money remittance services. And also another point is that dealing with foreign exchange, so where you can exchange foreign exchange. For example, you have some dollars, if you want to convert into rupees, so then that's possible. And also if you want to purchase some foreign exchange, right? Maybe you are traveling abroad, or maybe for you to pay some education expenses, right? So the selling and purchase of foreign exchange as well, right? So buying and selling of foreign exchange, travelers checks, services. Now, topic now flows that we'll be talking about these rest of the services with a short explanation. So just remember the fact that mainly deposits and loans, or which is the lending related services. Apart from that, another set of services they will be providing. Well, so let's come to that part. So quickly we'll go through. This is not kind of a difficult area. So moving to page number 29. Services rendered by commercial banks other than loans and deposits. And the loans and deposits were the loans, right? Okay. So besides accepting deposits and providing loans, commercial banks also provide the following services, agency services. Commercial banks perform as a representative and agent of customers when necessary. Yes, now when you pay your electricity bills, maybe telephone, So whatever the payment that you are doing as an agency service. Yes, can we write a couple of examples, please, for agency services? Right, examples in provided space, purchase and sales of securities, which is the government securities they'll be selling, right? And putting standing orders into effect, payment of water bills, electricity bills, telephone, right? All the utilities. Right, guys, so let's move to the next part. Leasing services, I'm not going to talk about much about leasing services because, right, we do have a separate, institutions we'll be talking about, specialized leasing companies. So the provision of finance facilities as well the interest of the businessman to enable the leasing of a would be machineries, vehicles, right, that you can get for the leasing facilities. E-banking, Yes, it's where that you the facilities through the internet to enable the customers to carry out their banking needs are known as this electronic banking services. So we mainly divide this as home banking and telebanking. So one thing is home banking, other one is telebanking. So this is to access the bank's website through one's home computer. So if you're using a desktop, right? So we usually tell this as a home banking. And if you use your mobile phone, especially the bank app, right? So the telebanking or the mobile banking, right? So this is where the customer is able to use his phone instead of going to the bank to access the bank and carry out the necessary bank transaction. Well, so I don't think those are new things for you guys, right? You guys are already using those stuff. So let's move to the pawning services. An important service furnished by commercial banks is to provide emergency loans to customers mortgaging the jewelry items. So especially the gold jewelries, as you can see here. So banks provide these sort of facility. Okay. And safety lockers, yes, for your valuable items. You can keep those in safe lockers. So commercial bank also undertake to protect an individual's gold, silver, gems, and jewelry, deeds, and everything. Your important documents, right? So you can pay. So for that, bank will be charging you a kind of a service fee for that. Purchase and sale of foreign exchange. So in accordance with foreign exchange regulations, commercial banks undertake to purchase foreign currency from customers and also sell them the requirements of a foreign currency. Right? So they will be dealing with foreign exchange, foreign currencies. Now, for example, as an exporter, you have received dollars or you have earned some foreign income. So, obviously in Sri Lanka, for you to use, you need to convert into rupees. So then you can sell those to the bank. And also there could be a chance as an importer or maybe when you're traveling overseas, you have some dollars or have some international currencies with you. So then you'll be able to, by providing rupees, you'll be able to purchase dollars or whatever the currency. Right? So that's one of the service. Credit cards. So we have talked about the credit cards. Credit cards ගත්තොත් ඔයාගේ lesson එකේ ගොඩක් තැන්වල තියෙන credit cards ගැන කතා කරන්න. Again, we have a lesson called electronic banking. So this is a type of card issued by a commercial bank or other licensed business entity, through use of which the customer can purchase goods or service from an authorized dealer and to some sort of a limit. And talking about the limit, guys, so nowadays it's not just limited to purchase of goods and services. To some extent, you can withdraw money as well, right? So, example, the credit cards we have like Visas, Master, like cards, Amex. Those are like the credit card networks. So each and every bank, licensed commercial bank, is issuing credit cards. Money remittance. This is something a hot topic that everyone is talking nowadays. So this means a collection of money from the account holder on his behalf. So you're sending money to an individual in a foreign country. The remittance service you can use, right? So that's really important for the economy when the foreigners, the workers' remittance through the banking system. Well, so then the issue of travelers checks. So this is kind of this is not gonna use much, but this is kind of an all system, guys. So let me show you. I have a couple of travel checks. Let me explain how this happened. Now imagine the time period, guys. Okay, now here, agency, e-banking, leasing, pawning, safe lockers. Anyway, about the letter of credits, we have talked about this one. Again, in the lesson number 11, we'll be talking about this stuff. Money remittance, selling and buying of this foreign exchange, and also traveler's check. Right, I have a traveler's check with me, right? So this kind of a certificate that most of the cases, what happens is, guys, Now imagine the time period you didn't have any, I would say, credit cards or debit cards. If you want to travel to another country, obviously you will have to use foreign currency. Right? Now let's say something like that. So you want to travel to Europe, right? So for Europe, you need to have euros. So what you try to do is, so let's say your budget of this trip or your tour is 5,000 euros. 5,000 euros. So then you go to the bank, you provide, in Sri Lanka, let's say, LKRS based on that day's exchange rate, you will be giving the bank 5,000 euros equal to the Sri Lankan rupees, right? In rupees, they are equal in amount. So for that, if you just try to, bring this money, the cash, probably there will be a risk because maybe your stay is like 14 days, so your tour is like 14 days, right? But for the 14 days, we need to keep this 5,000 euros as you spend. So there will be a risk. So you might make it inactive. But then you are gonna try to have some good time. But rather than focusing on your tour, you might have to focus on how you protect this money. But instead, guys, if there's a chance now, for example, so now these days, no issue. We have credit cards, no doubt. You can use internationally. But here, so you request some travelers checks, let's say worth of with different amount, let's say 10,000 euros, 500 euros, 100 euros, likewise, right? Couple of checks that will be received. So in that manner, when you travel to that country, what you can do, as you spend time with that tour, as you spend time, then you will be able to go to one of their commercial bank in that area to convert that into cash. So basically, when you have a traveler's check worth of 1,000 euros, they make a ප්‍රශ්නයක් වෙන්න මේක නැති වුණා ඔයාලට පුළුවන් no issue because none of others can obtain money instead of you, right? So in that manner, it's a kind of a you are trying to reduce the risk rather than carrying on 5,000 euros together. Instead, you will be requesting for a couple of breakdowns of because for your payments, you can just go to the nearby commercial bank and just try to convert this $1,000, so 1,000 euros traveler check into a cash, so then you can make the payment. So then again, for your next couple of days, let's say you need another $500, you think, so you go to the bank and try to, I would say, convert it to cash, and then again, you'll be able to. So likewise, this is kind of a method that you can reduce the risk rather than keeping this sort of amount with you, right? But these days, guys, because the why is because of the, I would say, development of this technology, credit cards, so we don't use this much. So this is a special type of check that is used by the local and foreign travelers that enable them to carry out the various transactions easily and safely. So traveler checks are issued in commonly used currencies, right? Mainly the recognized ones, euros, dollars, in a different denominations. Denomination means different values, right? Let's say $1,000, $500, likewise. The traveler gives the local currency notes he passes to the bank, and the bank who will issue the traveler's check. So you go to the bank and you provide the local currency. So as per my example, local currency worth of 5,000 euros. So you get the daily rate, and then you need to provide that to the bank. And the bank will provide you the checks equivalent for that amount. So guys, as a printing mistake, just remove this one, right? So for example, you are providing local currencies worth of 5,000 euros. So you get, let's say euro is just 300 rupees. So then you will be providing this amount. So instead of that, you will be getting checks equivalent for that, right? For example, a breakdown, because you won't just get one check, right? Because it's a risk again, so you will be having different denominations. So then the tourist on his travels will exchange the traveler's checks at a local bank according to his cash requirement, because when he travels there, right, he will be able to convert it. Well, so as you can see, picture, right, like I showed you. So next one is automatic banking services, which you have these ATMs and cash deposit machines, those stuff. So this is an electronic method of funds exchange that is available to bank account holders who can enjoy a lot of facilities that its bank has made available. At any time of the day, through this, the customers are able to obtain the following services. Just so the withdrawals, right? You can deposit the cash in the account, in the cash deposit machines, ATMs, transfer the funds to one to another account, check the balance automatically, right? To do the bill payment shows up quite automatically. And the advantages to the bankers. Now, this is quite important when if you are asked about advantages, benefits, just check whether they have asked the benefits or advantages from the customer's point of view or the bank's point of view. So here, customer's point of view. So if you write something like reducing cost, right, cost reduction, increase accuracy, reducing the workforce, so that will not gonna be a correct answer. Right? So that is from the bank's point of view. Right, guys. So now what do you think? Yes, obviously it will reduce cost because the staff will be less, and you don't have to, pay, open a branch. So there will be rent cost or overheads, right? And also maybe it's quite accurate. I hope you might have withdraw some money from the ATMs. right? ATM එකකින් සල්ලි withdraw කරලා තියෙනවානේ. කවදා හරි වැඩිපුර ආවෙලා තියෙනවා සල්ලි. For the very first days, I used to count, but I don't count money nowadays because I haven't come across a situation like that. I think same to you as well. එනිසා මේක ගොඩක් යාට 100% accurate things are no need to count cash, but if I need have doubt, just do that. But I haven't come across a situation like that. So the accuracy is there, but from the counters, maybe there will be a chance they will outgoing wedding, some other mistakes will have. So that could happen, right? Yes. So let's move forward with that. Let's try to write some of the advantages from this automated banking service and what you can see. So this is a really important part because this is the bank's point of view. Right, shall we write one by one, please? Advantages. Right, guys. So without any doubt, there will be cost reduction. Right. So reduction in the rush at the bank. That also really important. Otherwise, there will be the people waiting, the queues, and so that's gonna be a really headache, right? And also the increased accuracy. There are very rare opportunity, very rare probabilities there that you end up with some errors, right? So it will be accurate in most of the cases, and the possibility of reducing the workforce and also the increasing banking services will result in increased profits. Yes, can you please complete? So I'll share this to your group as well. Then I'll move to the next part. So if you couldn't complete, then you can refer to the group as well. Well, so moving to the next one, guys, using of letter of credit. Letter of credit ගැන නැත්නම් LC ගැන අපි ගොඩක් කතා කරලා තියෙනවා. හරි අපි මේක කතා කළා lesson number 3 එකේ government and business lesson එකේදී letter of credit and also අපි මේ ගැන කතා කරනවා lesson number 11 trade lesson එකේ foreign trade import trade කියන එක යටතේ. Now coming to a letter of credit, guys, I'll quickly explain. Now let's say you as an importer, right? So you here as an importer, let's say you import vehicles from Japan, right? Let's say cars, right? You have person A, right? Who is the importer. And then you will be importing vehicles from Japan, right? So Japan, the person B is there, right? Person B is there. Now you have ordered 10 cars, right? 10 cars worth of, let's say, one car is $10,000, so $100,000, right? One car is just $10,000, so 10 cars, Japan. Now then, guys, talking about the payment. So here you'll be saying here, okay, just do the shipment. Once I receive the cars in the Colombo port, I'll be paying. Then will you agree if you are the exporter here? If you are exporting Japan, will you agree for that? No, because you haven't seen this person, you don't know about this person, so how can you trust and how can you send 10 cars without getting any payment? So then he will suggest, as the exporter, he will suggest, you just pay me, you first pay me first $10,000, $100,000. Once I receive the payment, I'll make the shipment. Now, will you agree for that if you are the importer? No, right? Because you are just paying a huge amount, right? If we are in dollar crisis, you are paying $100,000. What happened if you didn't receive your product or the whatever you ordered? So then you guys will be arguing, right? So finally, to come to a conclusion, you need some party who can trust, right? Because why you are not sending the goods, or why not paying first? Because you don't trust each other. So, but you can always trust a bank. So you get a third party here, bank. So importer has his importer's bank. Now let's say in Sri Lanka, BOC. And export also has a bank in their country, Japan. Now let's say Bank of Japan. So the export is saying, if you could send a letter through a bank that you will be making the payment, surely then I can consider. So then the importer go to the importer's bank and say the requirement, says I want to import some good from Japan. This is the value. Can you please issue me a letter? Now, if they agree with that, checking the requirements of the importer, so they might say, no, okay, because for the bank also that's a risk. So they might say, okay, just deposit 50% or deposit 25% or deposit 10%. So that will be depend on the economic and market conditions, or maybe some cases 100%. Now let's say 50%. So let's say $50,000. So you need to first deposit rupees equal to $50,000 first. So the bank will issue a letter to the exporter's bank saying we have this customer and we guarantee that we'll be making the payment. So then you can trust the bank, right? So you can just search what is the bank of the BOC. Then you will be able to come to a conclusion, okay, that we can trust. So then once the exporter receives the letter of credit, then he will be sending you the goods and then you can make the payment later. And remember the fact that letter of credit is not something you're paying, you are agreeing to pay, right? It's a kind of a guarantee to pay. So this is what happened, the simple process. So if you can, get these also, I would recommend, but don't worry, we'll be talking about this part in a detailed manner. So they will be issuing a letter of credit to the Bank of Japan, which is the exporter's bank. So guys, I'll be having a power cut shortly. So what I'll do is I'll share this photo to the group as well. So you can refer it later. I'll quickly move to the next part, right? Which is, I'll highlight some important parts for you. Issuing letter of credit, yes. So it's a confirmation, right? Not a payment. Confirmation issued by importer's bank. As you realize here, Bank of Ceylon is importer's bank, to the exporter's bank, Bank of Japan, on the request of the importer, yes, person A, as the assurance that he will or they will pay the cost of the goods supplied by the exporter on behalf of the importer. So the bank guarantees that, they confirm, exporter will get the money. So that's the kind of a letter they'll be issuing. And there are some other services, guys, something like e-shelling, e-billing services, installation of ATMs, those stuff you can refer. Well, so that's about it when you come to the services provided banks, right? So mainly two, deposit related and lending related. So lending related again divided into saying your overdraft and loans. So loans again divided into two, saying consumer loans and the business loans. And apart from that, other set of services starting agency services, e-banking, leasing, right? You have pawnings services, safety lockers, issuing the LCs, money remittances, foreign exchange services, and travel checks, right? So those are stuff. Go through those. And next session we'll be starting talking about checks, one of the most important lesson in this part, types of checks and how you issue checks. Those stuff will be studying. Right, guys. So thank you for joining, and we'll see you in the next session. Thanks.
Thank you.